Well, good evening, everyone. We're here tonight with Craig, and we're here to talk about Duckers. There's a lot of controversy going on around the Duckers sale of that property. Not a whole lot of information's been readily made public. Is that your laptop blasting?
Yeah, I guess it is.
There we go. Craig over here blasting his laptop. So we got got a good show ahead. Got a lot of good questions. If you have any that you want to ask directly, put them in the comments. We'll get them addressed if we can, if we get enough time to get them all. And I'll let Craig get this started, and we'll go from there.
We got Lisa Darby and Mark Toothaker here representing the Duckers property. Is it a neighborhood association?
Yes, we've banded together, Craig, got a good group of people that not only live in Duckers, but folks like Lisa that live just across the street that'll be affected by all this traffic and all of the things that Judge Mueller thinks is what we need to do.
Okay. And about how many people's in your group?
Well, I would say we have a little over 100 folks
That's big.
are on our email.
How
And
many?
we appreciate you all letting us join you tonight
Absolutely.
to talk about this situation.
How many of the houses that are surrounding the property are represented in that?
I would
Do you
say,
have about a percentage? Or?
well, I would say about 100% of the ones on Mary Todd and Buena Vista are represented. There's maybe a couple of people in those houses that haven't attended anything or been involved, but for the most part, they all have. But we have a lot of people that, like Lisa across the street, like Mr. Sizemore, that's out on Duckers Road as well. And then you get over to Leestown Road. You know, we've had a lot of people from that area come to our meetings, and we've had a pretty good group of people out of the rest of the Duckers communities have attended our meetings.
Great.
Road.
Yes, Walnut Road, yes.
Pull the microphone a little bit closer to you so everybody can hear you. So, and you've got some experts in your group, like Lisa, who's a real estate broker, so she knows property. Been doing it, Lisa, 30 years?
30 years.
Yeah, so you got some expertise there on what the dynamics would happen if the project came to fruition, correct?
Oh, absolutely. You know, Danny Anders, he's waste management, works for the state. You know, he's one that already has taken videos of the water running between his house and Nova Jean Monroe's house. Okay. Anytime you get any amount of rain, that's on 18, where they're looking to put apartments.
Right.
Right now, water is within just a few feet of being in Nova Jean's basement.
Wow.
And so now, they want to be able to come add a bunch of apartments all the way down that fairway.
On the 18 fairway.
On 18 fairway.
Yeah.
It's going to be a mess. It goes under the road, under the cul-de-sac at that point, and then it goes between my wife and I's house, and then there's a vacant lot there that Doug O'Neill and his wife are going to build on is the plan. The water flows right through there. And then on down.
They're on a holding pattern, correct?
They are. They're on a holding. They're wanting to see what's going on. This has caused a lot of conflict. There's a house just closing this week over on Buena Vista. And, I was talking to the gentleman there, and, he's like, I just don't know where they're going to build at. And I said, well, they're not building in your backyard or my backyard, but they are certainly going to be building in my neighbors across the street from me down 18. And as you come into the subdivision, they're going to be building right there on the right behind what was the stay-in place.
And will they have, they'll have to put a road in there up 18, is that correct?
They will, yes.
And
they'll have to put a road in there.
The first house on the right going down, I think it's Buena Vista, how close will it come to their back patio?
Oh, I think it's, within 2 feet.
Potentially 2 feet.
Yeah. No, it's going to be in there.
Because the road will be between the first house and the apartments or whatever they're going to put in there. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe that is correct.
Okay. And tell us a little, how did y'all find out about this in the very beginning? Give us sort of a timeline of where or when did all this start? Because there's very little in the paper. I looked at all the articles from, I think, last September forward, and the first one was in October, I believe. Did it start then, or
I'll let Lisa pick up on this, but let me just say is that, there was a group of us that went down and met with Judge Mueller and Jack last August.
Jack Kennedy, deputy judge.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so we sat in with them and we said, listen, do you have any plans on this property? No.
So this is after the purchase.
Yeah.
After the county closed the deal.
Yeah. They've
from
got
Whitaker they got 129 prime acres for $850,000.
Correct, if not less.
A great deal.
Yeah, maybe even a greater deal.
I was told $850,000.
Well, that's what we were told too, but I think we've come to find out there was tax credits involved, and it's far less what they actually come out of pocket on.
Yeah, State Journal's got $850,000.
I think that's the number that everybody has floated, but I believe what we have heard, and Lisa, you probably can add to that a little bit, is that it was less than that, but the bank was given some tax credits as well. Mm-hmm. So, we went down. We just were wondering what's going on. This property, nothing's been done. Houston Wells, the former judge, had came out. We had a meeting the year before in 22. He was going out of office. Judge Mueller was coming into office. We had a chance to talk after they had bought the property. So fast forward to August, a group of us go down.
August what year?
Of 23.
Okay.
So just last year. Met with them. Do you guys have any plans? Well, we don't have any plans right now. And I said, well, let me tell you what we're interested in doing. We're very interested in working a deal on the clubhouse, getting somebody that knows what they're doing in the restaurant business.
You all.
Yes.
The neighbors.
Yes. We want to find somebody to run that. Mm-hmm. But what we would like to do is we would like to take what is now number one, what was the driving range, and what was number 9 that backs up there to all the houses on Buena Vista. Mm-hmm. We wanted to take that area and we wanted to make it into a golf training center. We wanted to do something along the lines of what Man of War Golf has done across the street from Bluegrass Airport.
Right, yeah.
We feel like there is a huge need for being able to have all these young kids that are learning to play golf, plus us old guys that still like to play some golf, have a place where they could go hit some balls and be able to practice. You don't have any driving range that anybody can use around here. There's a driving range at the country club, but they don't really want you using it.
Right. There used to be one, this Frankfort High owns a field now, because we used that when I was playing. And basically, is there any, other than Duckers?
No place that I'm aware of. Now, someone said somebody.
I'd go to Weisinger.
Down on the river, talking about possibly doing something.
Oh, okay.
But it just, there's not a place to go. And, you've got Franklin County, you've got Western Hills, you've got Frankfort High, you have Midway College, you've got Kentucky State. You have so many of these middle school kids are starting to play golf. My daughter, we moved to Duckers in 2007, and our next door neighbor was Joan Johnston, who coached at Franklin County High School, coached them to a state championship.
One of my teachers.
Wonderful.
At there when I was at Franklin County.
Wonderful folks. So she, got encouraged Reagan along with her grandfather to take up golf. And so Reagan learned to play golf, worked up at the clubhouse, washed golf carts, did everything that you would do, working a part-time job up there for Man of War, and then got herself a golf scholarship to Thomas More, and she's finishing up her paper right now for her master's, and she will be finished with her master's degree this month. So we're extremely proud, but all of that came from learning to play golf right there on Duckers. So we felt like there was a real need to do that. We made a proposal to them that this is what we would like to do. They just said, why don't you put something on paper and bring us something. And in the interim of us getting an LLC formed and looking to get that done, the next thing you know is they've put this out to sell it totally, 100%, which kind of caught us all a little bit off guard. And I'll let Lisa, you just kind of pick it up from there.
Before we go on, I got a question from our viewers. Was there ever an appraisal done on the property? Is there an appraisal value
Not that I'm
for
aware
that property?
Of. Not that I'm aware
Okay.
of.
No.
I don't know of one being done. I know they came out and surveyed it,
Right.
but I've not heard of anyone doing an appraisal.
I've asked that question.
I say, I'm sure you have.
I asked, before Houston bought it, before they decided to put it on the market, before they decided to look at offers.
Right. Well, because when we look at 129 acres at 850,000,
Yeah.
Or
the
less.
number that
Right.
we're told, that's like $6,500 an acre.
Yeah.
That's a steal anywhere.
Oh, absolutely.
For a hillside, that would be a steal.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Was Carmelo involved?
Carmelo
Carmelo
came to
Benassi?
several of our meetings and
'Cause he's
urged
great
and
with
begged.
kids. Now, Eric, did you see that one said turn our mics up a little bit?
I did. And you're going to talk more into your mic, I think.
Okay. So Carmelo, was he involved in any of this?
He was out there
'Cause I
at the
saw his
meeting
name.
we had with Houston.
Okay.
Carmelo was there, had a chance to talk, and it was a good meeting. We had a lot of good ideas right after they bought the course, and we were all extremely excited because what we had been told is, this is going to be green space not only for our kids but for our grandkids. And so when you hear that, when the course had been sitting empty for a while, you get excited about what potentially can happen next. And of course, nowhere in a million years did we think that it would be all this mass density apartments going up right in our backyards. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
It was 2 hours with Houston, and Michael was there as well.
As a magistrate at the time.
Yes, he was taking over. That was in December, and he was taking over in January. But they were all there. Spent 2 hours with us on a Sunday afternoon, begging for ideas and what did we want to do, and they wanted to work with us to make this green space for the whole community, not just that neighborhood or that area, but the whole community.
Maybe you know this. Is Lakeview Park in city limits, or is that because I know when I owned apartments on Stedmantown, that was city. The Stedmantown itself was the break to the county. Is Lakeview?
I believe it's annexed.
It's annexed to the city.
I believe so.
So our sole county park is in city limits.
I would have to double check, but I believe that's
'Cause
annexed.
I asked a couple magistrates.
I believe
but I didn't get a
across
reply
the
back.
street is county.
Yeah, where Central Screw or whatever it's called now. Is that
Meritor?
Meritor? Meritor. Okay.
I will check that for you.
Okay, because I'm just curious, but like State Journal article from October 18, 2022 said the property has been on the market for an asking price of $2 million, and the county got a great deal purchasing the land for $850,000. And one of the magistrates is quoted as saying the price was outstanding, say that it gives the county a myriad of opportunities in the future.
Absolutely.
And wasn't that JW?
Like I told you earlier.
Yeah.
And let's see. We couldn't agree more this is State Journal. We couldn't agree more. The number of options that the sizable property can use for are virtually limitless and will be beneficial to us all to have recreation again in that area of the county. It is also important to note that once activity of any sort resumes in the Duckers Lake area, it should help increase the property values of its neighbors. Now, are y'all familiar with, when you go to Louisville, that park right on there's Beckley?
It's a great
Buckley?
park. We go,
You
my
been there?
son, we go 3 times a week to Louisville up there to train at Aspirations. And so we pass that park going
Have you been
and
on
coming.
it? Have you been on
I
it?
have, yeah. No,
Okay.
we've been there, and it's a beautiful park. It is.
And it's just land that they put stuff on.
It is.
It's got whatever that creek's called, not Floyd's Fork.
Floyd's Fork, that's right. Exactly
Where they
right.
kayak down it. So I was just thinking, could you turn Lakeview into the sports mecca that we talk about?
Of course you could.
All ball fields, and then make Duckers a community park with like Buckley or Beckley, whatever it is, up in Louisville, where it's walking trails, a science center, because all the banks up in Louisville have got different parts of that they built. It's got a soccer field, kayaking, which you could kayak on the lake, because I saw a couple kayaks in somebody's backyard. Let's see.
Craig, that could be
Fishing
done
lakes.
110%.
Yeah,
Could it be
fishing
done?
lakes, farmers market there, community gardens, paved and dirt trails, bicycle trails. They've got an art center. They've got a kids' play area. They got dog parks. And they got facilities for business meeting and wedding receptions. Now, all of that made me think Duckers would be a smaller version of that.
Could be done easily, Craig. Easily could be done to do something like that. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, Ann Hartledge, she's got a daughter that's had health issues, and she put something the other day on Facebook that, where do you go in Frankfort to take your daughter to go swimming? Well, there's no place.
You go to Shelbyville or Versailles.
Yeah, that's right. Well, why in the world couldn't we look at doing something like that out here on this property? I mean, we've got an unbelievable piece of property. The county, which got a great steal, as it says on it, unbelievable purchase price to be able to get this bought. Why in the world would we not take opportunity to do that? Now, look, if a lot of this needs to be community funded, we've got enough folks in our community, I feel like, would pull together to be able to help the county to come up with a great resolution on doing this. But there is so much could be done. I mean, why wouldn't we have a pool? I mean, I think it's a great place to do it. You've got the clubhouse there.
What about a farmer's market? I mean, they're going to be looking because of what's going on downtown.
Absolutely.
I mean, that would be a perfect place.
Lots of opportunities and stuff to do.
The opportunities are endless.
Yeah. Why just turn around and flip it to a developer that's going to come in there and jam it up with apartments? I mean, I don't know what in the world Judge Mueller is thinking about. I mean, this harkens to me, that this has been going on for a while. It just has the smell of backroom politics, and I hate saying that, but, this thing to me wasn't just conjured up out of thin air. And I feel like that, this was something that had been in the works. Even when we went there in August, I believe in my heart the way all that worked out was that this was already in the works. So we'll see where it all goes, but it makes no sense to me at all, anybody with any common sense, to think that you would want to come in here and put more apartments in an area that should absolutely 110% be green space. The county, I mean, and we can get into this more here in a minute, but, the county has already approved all these townhouses across from Hearn, and they're already coming up out of the ground. I mean, I went by there the other day, and Luke goes yesterday.
So what you're talking about is like, here's Hearn School. Directly across the street, they're putting a development in right there. I'm aware of that.
Going to be townhouses, and just this week did they come up out of the ground to where you've actually got some framing going on. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be townhouses. That's all going to be rentals, and it's an absolute perfect spot. It's across the street from a school.
Right.
So if you've got kids right there, guess what they can do? They can walk across the street and go to school. You couldn't put a better spot to be able to put
Governor's Place, the front of Governor's Place?
Governor's Place, we understand, is going to I've heard homes. I've also heard duplexes. I don't know. I need to reach out to Zach Moore. I know he's the one that's putting that together. Zach, obviously, I probably should have called him before we walked into this meeting here tonight. But either way, it's going to be houses or duplexes are going to be there.
Zach has residential lots there.
Yeah, okay.
So the ones right
by Clark's.
Right.
So
and that's about all that could go in there, right?
Yes, he's putting the utilities in. You can see all the work that they've done there to do that. And then just down the hill as you're coming out of Frankfort and you're heading toward all of the Duckers community, on the left is a piece of property that just got sold. Great big sign up there that said Joe did it or Joe got it done. There's something right there on the big billboard right there, and they've approved. Lisa, what did you tell me? 416 units have been approved right there to be able to be built. Apartments is our understanding.
Yeah. This is where the logic is bumfuzzling to me, because I remember, isn't Slickaway Branch right near there?
Right behind it.
Okay. I remember all the groups coming out against the Tierney property on Duncan Road, which is, on the way to Millville.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
behind Cracker Barrel,
Yes.
behind that part of that industrial park. All the hemming and hawing about potentially flooding Slickaway, South Elkhorn Creek, the country club, things like that. But that's miles away, a couple mile and a half, 2 miles away. These 416 apartments you're talking about, don't they back right up?
They do. No, it's correct. They back right up to them. And
So where's the lot?
there's no logic
Let me
to it.
say one thing first. Eric and I are not taking any position on this property. We're just giving them an opportunity to speak longer than they usually get at a fiscal court meeting or a city commission meeting. But we're going to bring out some logic issues of why certain groups are against one project
but not others.
but not others when it's right on the darn creek. That doesn't make any sense to me. So
Well, there's a lot of logic in here that doesn't make sense to me either. And like you said, I'm not for or against it. I don't live out there. I don't have a vested interest in one way or the other. But one thing Craig and I had talked about before, with anything that's community involved, everyone needs their voice heard.
Absolutely.
If Craig and I have an issue and we've given no one an opportunity to talk about their issue, why are they going to help us?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because as a community, we all have to band together. It doesn't affect me, but I see a lot of logical things that doesn't seem to be well thought out in this. And like you, it's my personal opinion, this didn't happen overnight.
No.
No.
But all of a sudden it came upon the people who live out there.
Yeah.
And for me, it doesn't make sense to put multi-family dwellings in the middle of a bunch of single-family dwellings that are nice houses.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, we're not dealing with $150,000 houses out here. They're all, probably $400,000 or $500,000 and up. They're all very, very nice houses. So it doesn't make sense to me to put apartments in. And if you use the affordable housing thing that everybody wants to talk about, what kind of apartments are you going to put in there that's affordable? They're not going to be affordable if you're going to put them in the middle of a nice neighborhood. They're going to be, $1,500 to $2,500 or whatever a month. Well, that's not affordable. That doesn't help the affordable housing issue that we have in Franklin County.
Well, that's just another question. If you don't understand that, do you understand paying $36,000 for a study and then not following it?
And then not following it.
Oh,
We
this
see it all the
county-
time.
Yeah, this county, we've talked about this a bunch of, this county and city, they're great at making studies, but then they go on the shelf and gather dust.
I told Craig that we need to start a company that does studies.
I know,
We
right?
would never have to work again.
No, you get rich here in Franklin County. That's for sure.
They don't even have to be accurate studies
No.
because they're not going to use them.
No, they're not going to use it. Lisa, why don't you talk a little bit about how the PR, how these came, to be able to, the two that came down the pike.
I'm not real sure. We actually did an open records request to get the two offers that were submitted. And
Oh, the bids? You're talking about the bid
right,
process?
right.
Okay.
So we did the open records request. We received these bids, and then, of course, we all looked them over, sent them out, and we all started calling our magistrates. We started calling all the magistrates to discuss this, and they had no knowledge of these offers. And so you would just hang up and you would call the next magistrate. You would just think, well, that one didn't check their
So for y'all to get them, they've got to be open, correct?
correct.
Because you can't get a bid that hasn't, I've never seen one where you can get a bid that has not been opened
Correct.
yet. You can't get it. So are you telling Eric and I that you all knew about these bids before the fiscal court members?
Long before. We sent
How's that possible?
We sent these offers to the magistrates.
They had been made. A gentleman out of Georgia made one, particularly that it didn't really go anywhere. And then you had this group out
Who
of
put the bids out?
Nicholasville,
Who put the
the
bids out?
judge. I mean,
So
the court.
county government did.
Yeah, county
Right.
government put it
But
out.
you all got the bids before the county government did?
Right.
Not all of the magistrates. I'm going to say there was 2 or 3 of them that knew this was going on for a while.
Okay.
The
would
ones
be
that
my
were on the
best
park
guess.
committee.
Yes.
Okay. Because I know in one of these articles it said they were going to let several committees within fiscal court look over
Right.
stuff. I don't know what they mean by that.
But when
Yeah.
we started making phone calls, you had magistrates that had no idea there were even offers. They couldn't even discuss them with you. Of course, we did have some magistrates that even after we sent them the offers, couldn't discuss them with
But
us.
you're not a magistrate,
No,
and you knew about them.
I did.
Through open records.
Through open records.
We were able to get
We
those.
seem to have a lot of flawed bid processes within the
Well,
confines
if
of our
it's
community.
Open, it just wasn't completely shared with all the fiscal court members.
That's correct.
That's what it
Correct.
sounds like.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
because it was
Well-
open properly, legally.
Yes.
It just wasn't shared with all the members
Right.
for whatever reason.
Correct.
Yeah, because you don't want to go down that road because that would be lawsuits out the wazoo for something like that.
True.
Well, the other night we have a meeting downtown, and Judge Mueller even called to tell me that, he goes, I've seen some stuff on social media that's not correct. He said, we're not discussing tonight anything to do with duckers. But what I found funny about it is, okay, nothing was talked about duckers, but you just spent $117,000 to hire a law firm out of Lexington to help you clarify what ARPA money is and what ARPA money can be spent on.
Is this after it was purchased?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So this
So
was
they
just
got
like
one of
last
the big-
week.
Probably the biggest law firm in Lexington.
Yeah, $117,000 to get them to be able to tell the court what they can and can't do with ARPA money. Well, I mean, are you serious? We're going to spend $117,000 to a law firm of your money, Lisa, Eric, all of our money here in the county. That's what we're going to do to be able to figure out what ARPA money can and can't be spent on. Well,
Couldn't they have reached out to our federal elected officials?
Pretty in black and white.
I mean, Andy Barr
of
and
course
Jamie
they
Comer.
could have. They could have done something besides spending $117,000 of every citizen here in Franklin County's money to be able to get some clarification. I think it's a ridiculous amount of money that they're paying them to be able to do that. But hey, look, county, the money's free. It's government money.
It's pretty well documented on Google. It didn't take me 30 seconds to figure out some of the things that you can and can't spend it on.
Right, Eric. I mean, look, it's
Where's
just
my $100,000?
$117,000, and I'm going to tell you, if nobody thinks anything about it, they don't think twice about it. But it's our money.
Yeah.
Right.
It's being spent, and I just think that this county judge and this court, God bless them, but I think they're pretty loose with the county money to be able to do what they're doing, and it's frustrating to see that that's been done. But I'm not an attorney, but I can tell them one thing: there ain't no way in the world the federal government allowed them to be able to buy this piece of property with ARPA money and then turn around and flip it to an investor. That makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, it is ridiculous to me that it's even being discussed.
Yeah, out of my area.
So I don't know.
So
And we do have a few on the court that have been very responsive, very supportive, very understanding, and you couldn't ask for any better. We have had some, a couple that have really stood beside us, but we still have a fight ahead of us.
yeah, well, we've had the mayor, Commissioner Thompson, and Commissioner Waldridge on here. No problem. All said they'd come back. We had school superintendent, sheriff. We had many of those, but for some reason I can't get fiscal court members to come on. I've asked two, and one I didn't get a reply. Another one said, "Nah." I don't understand that, but
Well,
Kyle was on once for
Our first one was like
2.5 hours.
2.5
Yeah, I'm ready to
Kyle
go.
actually showed up.
He did.
At our
Correct.
meeting that we had, and
Showing
really
support,
Well,
correct?
he did, and he offered some really good compromises for the fiscal court. And actually, I have talked to Patricia Waldridge. I talked to her about the sewer, and I was told that the money does not exist to extend sewer out to this area for at least 8 years.
And it will with that many homes, I would think, again, I'm not a member of the sewer department or nothing like that, but adding on 416 apartments,
That's right.
let's say there's 2 people in each one, so that's 938 people, plus 938 cars maybe. And then how many apartments in Duckers and how many building properties?
247 is the apartment count.
So
out
we're
there.
looking at 900 approximately.
Well, and then you've got the townhouses that are going
Yeah.
up right now by Hearn.
Yeah.
And then the additional housing that Zach Moore and them are doing.
Are they going to, are there any plans to, have you done a traffic study?
Oh, they haven't done any of that yet.
There's actually been 3 traffic studies done over the last 18 months on 421.
I'm talking about in the Duckers properties.
Oh, absolutely not.
Not yet.
And so no traffic counts. Any talk about widening the roads? Because I know if I'm driving towards your house or towards the golf course, and then a pickup truck coming the other way, we're pretty close.
Yes.
I noticed it's been recently blacktopped though. When I went out there,
They just did that here not long ago.
Yeah.
And look, I want to get back what Lisa said. You know, J.W. Blackburn, you know, we reached out to him and we said, J.W., you know, we have a bunch of constituents of yours that would like to meet with you. And he said, anytime. He goes, this is when I'm available. Gave me a time.
because he's a teacher.
He's a teacher.
Yeah.
We set it up. John up at Capital City let us use the youth room, just an amazing, super nice room up there.
Yeah,
So
John Sutphin.
yeah, we went up there, and JW stood up there for 2.5 hours and took everybody's questions and answered them to the best of his ability, and did a great job. And he was asked several times by a lot of us there in the neighborhood, can we count on you to help us defeat this? And he said yes. And so one of the things we've tried to do is encourage JW to get in there. I know he says he doesn't like to influence other people's votes, but JW, this is where we need you to influence their votes, because this is a terrible idea for your area of the county. And it would be a terrible black eye on him and any of the other magistrates that would actually vote for this thing to happen, including Judge Mueller. They all, when you talk to them, want to tell you, hey, I'm just one vote. Well, yeah, no, you are, but it doesn't matter if you're one vote. You need to be talking to your other magistrates that this is not something that would benefit the county in any way with all of this other development that you've already approved. You've already got all of this in the works. I mean, they don't have to go back and talk to anybody about it. You've already said it's all fine to do. So we're already going to have an extreme amount of traffic out on Leestown Road with all these new apartments and townhouses and everything being built. And then now you want to come over here into this subdivision and put these apartments. Who's going to pay for all of the utilities, the sewer and everything else, the water that you've got to put in there? Where is the sewer all going to go?
Where do y'all get your water from? Is it a water district or is it from Plant Board?
Plant Board.
Plant Board's not a water district?
No, okay. Plant Board on that. And now, you're going to have to widen the streets. You're going to have to put a stoplight. Yep. You're going to have to probably widen the bridge over the interstate. That's going to be extremely expensive. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to widen the bridge that runs over right where number 1 green basically is coming to your house right there. So that's another bridge that's going to have to be widened to be able to do this. You're going to have to put a stoplight up to come out of that subdivision of ours. You're going to have to go out there on Leestown Road and put a stoplight up out there. And so, when you get adding all of this up, it just makes it even more make not sense
fire
at all.
Protection,
ambulance
service,
that's just
delivery, Amazon.
Oh,
Fire, police, EMS, schools.
I
mean, the schools.
I'm gonna get on schools here in a second.
And the only way you're going to do this, because we've been told that with the new school being built, this is absolutely no problem. You're going to have to redistrict for it to not be any problem.
They're putting one over there across from Lakeview.
Right.
A new Elkhorn. Where's the other one going? Is it New Hearn, or is it going to replace Hearn?
That one is replacing Elkhorn, isn't it?
I would say, well,
I know
think
Elkhorn's getting replaced.
Yeah. Yes, that is true.
But they're going to
maybe it's a new bonder. Heck, I don't know.
I've
talked to the superintendent. I know where one of them's going. I cannot remember where the second one's going.
But where is the money coming from to widen the roads, widen the bridges, hire new employees for fire and the police. I mean, there is no way.
But you got a fire department that's like right over here.
At Station 8. Do they have an ambulance there?
No.
I mean, I know you know. I already know. I
yes.
already know the answer, and I know
Right.
why, because somebody told me that
They would have to expand that at minimum, or should.
I can't believe
I don't guess they have to.
Yeah, in December when I called for an ambulance, it was a 28-minute wait
Probably came from Station 4 at Spaghetti Junction.
at Spaghetti Junction.
Had to.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. Do they have any ambulances stationed out in the county now?
I don't think so.
So I think there's
I don't
only
think so.
the 4 city stations.
I have no idea. The county fire department does, because I think I had them come to my dad several times, and I think they came from Evergreen Road. But that's out, But y'all are out in the county, so I have no idea. I don't know.
Ours, the last one I called came from the Spaghetti Junction, is where that one came from.
Yeah, that's what I was told.
That's how I figured that
Yeah,
out.
because Station 8, we also have to keep in mind that not only do they service Duckers,
Right.
they service industry
They service you right here.
right here. The industry on all this too.
Yeah.
And I think they only have like 2 trucks.
And then they'll take care of all the new townhouses, I'm
And
sure, right there by Hearn.
Right.
They'll
So they're
take
gonna
care
have
of
to
the
be
new
So
houses,
there's going to have to be expansion for that.
and they're
probably.
going to have to take care of the apartments.
Well,
the
the
416 of them that have
Well,
been approved.
And the 5 acres that is sitting over there behind the condominiums that hasn't been built yet. None of that we're talking about in this equation either. Because
Already been
those
approved.
have already been approved.
Yes.
It's the 5-acre strip for more condos.
Yeah.
Well, the schools. Where's all those kids going to go to school? I'm just asking.
They're all going to go to
They're
Hearn,
supposed to go to Hearn.
But Hearn's full,
Right.
right?
getting ready to be fuller when all those kids start walking across the street.
More full.
More full. That's right.
No, fuller. I think fuller is a good word for this one.
Yeah.
Because that's the amount of thought that has been put into this. Somebody asked, does the builder know that there's an 8-year wait on the sewer?
I have no idea what the builder knows.
No idea.
Well, the bid's not let. I mean, it's let, but it's not been signed off on.
Yeah,
the
they've
Correct.
not accepted
Correct.
it. And
Yeah.
so that is our agenda is Craig and Eric is to, stop this because we don't want it to get to that point where they've gone ahead and said, okay, guys, y'all go ahead and start building because we get to that point, then this thing's
Let me
going to
show
get
this
really
map
messy.
because I'm gonna pull the map up.
Do you know what the process? How far along in the process with the bids they are? Has it come before the full fiscal court yet?
Not yet. No,
Okay.
but it
Still has some committees to go through.
yes.
Okay.
So this is what's proposed now. I'm pointing to the screen like everybody can see me.
Right.
Everything in red are new buildings. Everything to the center and left, center and right are multifamily dwellings like duplexes or apartment buildings or condos.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay. And then we have more that's on the far left that we think are. Do you know what those are? I never could nail down if those were duplexes or housing, townhouses.
We've been told multiple things, but one of the things we've
It's
been
nondescript on the plan.
is that it's either some type of affordable housing, and then it gets to what does that mean?
Right.
Well, to the right,
That means everybody's property on the outside of that is going down.
Yes, that's exactly what it means.
to the right being the apartments.
And when she's saying right, it's to our right, probably your left. I don't know.
Over here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right as you're looking at it on
And
the
then
screen.
Yeah.
Condos over here to the left, the front left,
Uh-huh.
and then the rest of those in the red, in the back sections are housing. So 47 houses, 247 apartments.
So, to the viewers, if you take a screenshot of that and then go to Google Earth and look at it on the satellite view on Google or on Google Maps, it doesn't look very aggressive or intrusive on this picture. But when you actually put that, when you actually think about that and look at a real map of real houses and real backyards, it encroaches quite a bit on some people.
Well, and you can also see there's plenty of green space in there with this as it is for future development. So for one to think that a developer would buy this and stop at that and leave all that green space, it'd be a little naive of
Not
a
going
thought.
to happen.
I don't know what apartment buildings are expected to make per acre at this point, but I agree. There's a lot of dollars that would be revenue that would be lost if they didn't develop it.
Yeah, so I got a tour Friday afternoon, about 145 minutes. Of course, like I told him, I played golf there. I probably played 200 rounds of golf or even more. I mean, I don't know. I played out there a lot. And as he was taking me around, showing me where the buildings are going up, and then we're getting down by the holes, the fairways by the lake, there's nothing there at the moment.
Right.
There's nothing along any of the creeks running through Ducker's Golf Course or the ponds. So, Lisa, as a broker, if your company bought that property somewhere else and you're not anything with the neighborhood, just a purely business transaction, would y'all build it all the way out like they do in Lexington where they jam those houses so tight you can barely get two riding mowers beside each other?
Absolutely.
Say it again. I couldn't.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If I'm buying a project to make money from it, which most developers do, I'm going to get every bit I can out of my green.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean they build them so close that as close as fire code will allow them to build.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, I always joke with my wife when we go up there, if you got drunk, because there's only like five floor plans in a whole subdivision, you might walk in the wrong house. And you hear that. You hear it in the big cities where somebody gets drunk and they go to the wrong house. But
well, if you think about that, if you put 5 extra feet of space between houses, eventually you lose one.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah.
So you've lost one property's worth of revenue.
Well, when all this was first come news to us and we first started reaching out to all the magistrates, I talked to one magistrate and I just told him, I said, man, this makes no sense whatsoever that we would even be considering that. And he said, well, you ought to be sitting in my chair. And I said, okay. I said,
back up. Say that again.
When I asked one of the magistrates why they were even considering this, he said, well, you need to have a seat in my chair.
What does that mean?
Well, what he was meaning is that the developer that is proposed to build all these apartments told him that, yes, it needs to be done. We need to be able to build these apartments and build these houses. Well, of course, that's what a developer is going to tell you, because if a developer isn't wanting to build stuff, they're in the wrong business. And so that is my biggest point back is that, well, of course they're going to tell you that's what Frankfort needs. But if you take a step back away from this and look at this and try to make it make sense, you can't. It makes no sense whatsoever that you would want to come in here, Craig, and put these apartments right in people's backyards that back up to, $400,000 or $500,000 houses that are people's biggest investment. I mean, my wife and I, our biggest investment that we have anywhere in this world is our house. And we have worked hard every month to be able to figure out how to make the payment on that house, to stay in good standard with Bank of America, who's got our note, and probably like most people in America has the note. And, we're trying everywhere in the world to build equity. I mean, we've raised 3 children in that house. We have a son right now that's going to be a senior next year at Franklin County. He loves football. He's
pretty good.
He loves
I've been
being
told.
here. And so, I've had people tell me, they said, well, why don't you just move? Well, okay. Where am I going to move to?
It's not that.
Where are you going to go?
And Lisa, today, if you sold your house, say you bought your house or you built your house for $140,000 25 years ago, it sells for $400,000. you're not going to show no benefit because you're going to have to spend $400 on another house.
Of course you are.
You're going to have to
So
spend.
there's no benefit.
You're going to have to spend $700 if you want it to be like the $400 that you had.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no
Not
logic
to mention
to
8%
that question.
interest.
Yeah, to that question. There's just right. There's just no logic to that question.
Yeah, I mean, where are you going to go? I mean, that's what my wife and I have talked about it. And it's just like, well, okay, so you're going to uproot your son that's got 1 year left to go in high school. You're going to just move. Where are we going to move to? We're going to move to Lexington. We're going to move to Georgetown.
And
I mean,
you
where
go
are
to
you?
Lexington or Louisville where you work.
Where are you
but,
going?
The houses are twice as much there than
where are you
going to
go?
But you have people too that don't quite have that option either. I mean, we've been talking about people that you've gone over and you've seen and you went on tours with. Can you imagine
Elderly folks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being
My age and older.
But and health plays a lot into it too.
Sure.
But can you imagine they've bought these houses, they made sure they were all on one level, that they were, in a safe environment, a safe place, and they've spent their entire life there. They have their houses paid off, and they're just living out their years.
I mean,
so to
I'm
speak.
not moving out of my house. We're done.
Well, it's exactly. I mean,
You are until 247 apartments are going to come to your back door.
Well, yeah. Well,
It puts you in a spot.
built out, yeah.
I mean, Gary, it's
So was ours.
Dawson that is a great neighbor of ours. There he sent me a text that haunts me, and it just says, we have got to stop this because my wife and I plan on living in this house until we die. We don't want to move anywhere. Why would we want to move? And let me tell you, there's a lot of other neighbors in that neighborhood that feel the same way. That they do not want to move. They don't want to think about having to move. And for the county to come in here and even think about this thing, which they're trying to think about it. It's the last thing they should think about doing. And putting all of these neighbors of ours in this whole area in jeopardy it just, to me, makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, and how close will the road up 18, how close will that be to Mr. Dawson's yard?
Oh, I mean, it's
how many inches?
Yeah,
because I know the answer because he told me.
Yeah, I mean, he's on number 9, Craig.
9.
He's on 9,
that's right,
and I mean, it literally is less than 2 feet.
Yeah, he said 15.
15 inches.
He said 15 inches. That's what he told me. He took me out in his backyard and said they could put a road here. Now, surely to God they won't. It'll be further out, but still,
they could.
It's not going to be 100 feet away.
No.
Like my house is. The road's 100 feet away from where we built on our lot.
Well, and move is always an easy answer when you're not the one being faced with moving, right?
Who wants to move?
And
I don't want to move.
Right.
Not
and
today's market.
Heck no. And people who bought into the Duckers community bought into a golfing community.
Yes.
They didn't buy into massive apartments in their backyard.
Well, the more important thing is they bought into a development that already was 100% approved.
Yes.
Every house that's in that area was already approved. They knew what they were buying.
Right.
It's not like they bought in an area
Knowing
that
that
was still
apartments are
being
going
developed.
right, or knowing that apartments was going to be
Sure.
built there.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the unfortunate part is you bought into an idea and concept and somebody has pulled the rug out from underneath them.
Yeah.
Well, Ann Northcutt was the
Without a whole lot of input, it sounds like.
No.
well, yeah. Ann Northcutt, she was the county grant administrator when I worked at the sheriff's office, and real sharp as a tack. She's quoted in the State Journal as saying, "I believe the acquisition of this property is rightly for the benefit of the public good." Franklin County Community Development and Grants Administrator Ann Northcutt told elected leaders, quote, "One of the possibilities is we should decide to proceed with the conversion process for the Lakeview Master Plan, that this property might be used in consideration for that process with the National Park Service." Mm-hmm. So are y'all versed on what she's talking about right there of Lakeview Park and purchasing Duckers
So
for some reason?
Lakeview Park, in order to expand it further and continuing to build and put things in it, like you had talked about, the sports stuff to build into Lakeview Park, you're taking away green space from that park. That park was bought with grant money. The grant money.
Which park you talking about?
Lakeview.
Lakeview, okay.
So that grant requires a certain amount of green space in order to use that money.
Is that in perpetuity? I like that word.
I think it is.
Because I've read some stuff that said these purchases with these grant money means it's in perpetuity.
I believe that to be correct.
Okay.
And so, in order for them to do what they would like to do with Lakeview Park, they have to reallocate green space in Franklin County in order to make that grant. So, this green space out here, that's what that was. Well, that's what Houston had in mind for
And
it.
that's Duckers you're talking
It
about.
was Duckers. Duckers was supposed to take the place of the green space that they were going to get rid of in Lakeview Park. Again, I've spoke with Houston numerous times. Numerous times, Houston has told me his purchase was with ARPA funds and it was for green space.
And Houston's who?
Houston Wells.
Former county judge.
Right.
Just so people might not know.
Right.
Yeah.
So, again, this is what we've all thought all along. I mean, why else would we have spent 2 hours with Houston and Michael and several of the other county officials talking about ideas? Why would you do that?
Well, did I maybe I asked this already, but did folks take notes at that? I know y'all had something out there at Duckers with Houston because, I mean, right there it is.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, right there.
It was a
Right.
great turnout.
It was.
Huge turnout.
So you can see.
It was
there's
hundreds.
Houston right there.
Yeah.
Standing room only.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I was down the hallway. I couldn't even get in there
And
to
that's
get a
in the
seat.
clubhouse.
Yes.
Yeah. Very nice clubhouse. Or
Yes.
It was when I played there anyway.
Had my 50th birthday there.
Okay.
In that same room.
Okay.
Great spot.
All right.
40th. It was your 40th.
Well, yeah, I wish, but
But so Judge Wells told you all that his intention was green space,
yes.
keeping it green space, because I know that's what he wanted for Lakeview. He wanted some more tennis courts, stuff to get people off their phones and out of the house.
Right.
And like today, my son, his wife, and her 3 kids are going down to Cove Spring Park to walk around. My daughter and her husband, they go to Clear Creek, and then they go over to Lawrenceburg. They live in Shelby County, and they go there. And that goes back to the Beckley or Buckley, whatever it is
Right.
in Louisville. There's miles of trails, not dirt trails and bicycle trails, paved trails. So
I think, one of the main things that's been brought up and as we've had these meetings and talked about it, and it's a radical departure from what was meant for this property.
yeah.
And to
You think it's for property taxes, additional property taxes?
I think it is absolutely crazy idea for them to even be considering it. I'm sure that they're thinking, hey, it's this, that. But let me tell you, these developers, they don't live in the county. These people that are building.
Are they non-Franklin County
Oh,
residents?
they're Nicholasville
None
and
of
Richmond.
none of our
None.
developers.
None.
No, are
Won
you
the
kidding
bid
me?
on-
All that
None.
money, whoever, you get ready for the first of the month and you're going to pay your rent in these apartments or townhouses, you're sending it to Nicholasville
If you're lucky.
or Richmond.
'cause-
But none of the money is staying in the county. I mean,
Eric
that
and
money
I
is
are-
all leaving the
Yeah,
county.
we're pro everything Franklin County. Keep every business, every dollar we can
Oh,
in Franklin County.
Every
this-
developer, every contractor is not local.
Yeah.
No, so it's not going to be a job creator
No.
for Franklin County residents.
It's going to be a radical departure
Okay.
from what was intended for that property.
From the February 2nd State Journal article, says, let's see, what we're going to do today to start the process, well stated. The process is going to be your voices, your thoughts, and your ideas. How many times the fiscal court reach out to you all?
Never.
Never.
Never. We heard from no one ever.
Even though this article says they were going to.
Yeah, no.
Well, you've got another article that was printed later that says we tried and we did.
Who's we?
The judge.
The judge was the one who-
says in the paper that they made every effort possible to reach out to all of the residents out there in our community. Well, who did he reach out to? Because I've yet to find the person. I've not talked to a person
How hard is it to do that?
that has
Mr.
told me
IT
that
professional?
Judge Mueller
Not
called
very.
me and wanted to discuss this. I've
With
not
you
found the
with you
first person.
specifically?
Anybody.
Oh.
I've not found a person that lives in our area out there that has told me that Judge Mueller reached out to them to talk to them about what they were proposing
Okay, yeah,
to do.
here's the quote. Franklin County Judge Executive Michael Mueller said that the county has tried to communicate with area residents, quote, as much as possible, close quote. So did fiscal court try to communicate with you all, quote, as
Never.
much as possible?
Well, keep going. We have had multiple meetings with residents on site as well as in the office regarding the Duckers property.
Yeah, the
How
only
many
one they
on-site
had in
meetings you
office is
had?
when we met with them to discuss what we wanted to do.
And who initiated that meeting?
We did.
Okay. How many times do they meet with y'all out at the golf course?
Never.
Oh, well, one time.
Well,
Well, no,
Houston,
that was after Houston.
I mean,
bought
that's
it.
when Houston was there.
Yeah.
We had that once. So
That was it.
That not any
once
sense.
there was a change of helm for the judge, there was never another meeting.
Okay. The State Journal further says Mueller added that the fiscal court also plans to invite the residents to meet with the entire court in a few weeks and voice their thoughts and concerns. Has that invitation ever come?
We did go down and had a great meeting. We got a chance to speak for 3 minutes.
So it was a regular fiscal court meeting. It wasn't
Meeting of the
a
whole.
meeting in his
Meeting of
office.
the whole.
Meeting of the whole.
Yep.
Okay, so it wasn't with him.
We had probably 70 people there to meet with the judge.
How'd you fit 70 people in that room?
Well, it wasn't easy. We had them out in the hallway. We had them out in the lobby. But we had
So did everybody get to voice their concerns?
everybody that wanted to speak spoke. And I will say they gave everybody time to speak.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Everybody had a chance. They had the attorney over there keeping the clock. And, they weren't rude about cutting anybody off. They just said, that's, your time. And if you went a few seconds over, nobody threw a fit. So it was fine. And we really appreciated the judge and we appreciated all the magistrates letting us come down and express our concerns to them. And I thought it was a great meeting. I thought that everybody had great points about what we'd like to see done with the area, with the green space. But, most importantly, the theme for the night was, vote this down. Let's vote no.
Did any of the magistrates ask any of the people that spoke questions like
No.
they do occasionally?
No,
No.
there was no questions asked. This was just them listening. It was
So
only a listening
would
session.
y'all like to have another meeting with this court, since it's a new fiscal court, in a large room where everybody can talk, like at Frankfort High or Franklin County or some gym somewhere?
We're happy, Craig, to meet with them anytime that they would allow us a chance to meet
Have
with
y'all
them.
asked them?
We met that once, and
I mean, have you asked them to meet again? Or because I heard this might be coming up pretty quick.
well, I'd be all for meeting again if it's getting ready to come up.
I don't know that that's true. I didn't really know about this much without talking about her husband, Lisa's husband, and just generally digging around the last 2 or 3 days because we put this together pretty quick. But we want people to be able to do more than a 3-minute discussion
Be nice.
that you do at fiscal. So that's why we have these long form interviews and let the information get out. And we know the elected officials watch them because they tell me.
Well, what's interesting is they are elected officials, and we elected them. We elected them to carry out our wants and wishes. So I'm not 100% sure whose wants and wishes we're carrying out at this point. Because as many people as I've talked to, I have yet to find this many who are for it.
Let me flip it around then. Has anybody publicly said they're for this?
No one in our group.
Not in our group, no. I have.
I mean, I didn't get any indications in here, and I didn't know the bid winners were. I was going to say at a minimum, if it's local guys doing it, at least the money will stay in town.
Yeah,
the
no.
jobs will be created for town.
Well, you know,
but
that's
it's outside Franklin County.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
kind of what's interesting, because I have had some discussions with some local loan officers who had some individuals come in with the idea of buying this and doing something with it. But when they came in and the loan officers figured out their timeline for getting these bids turned back in, they just told them, there's no way. There's
It was
no
too
way.
quick. It was a short timeline.
It's just there's no way to have a loan officer be able to guarantee they're going to be able to do that project in that time frame. It's a short time frame for that kind of development, that kind of money.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And here's an obvious question. It was going to be the first question I was going to ask. Did the county give you guys an opportunity to buy it for $850 or $1,000 or less?
And you know the funny.
See, I was told that they did.
They did not.
Well, I'd
But
like
only like a couple weeks.
Yeah,
I'd like to talk to that person.
Yeah, we were not given any opportunity.
I'd like to see that contract.
Because I mean, if you turn it into a park like that one in Louisville or Shelbyville, wherever it's at, it could generate enough income to keep it operating.
Absolutely.
There's enough grant money out there for green space.
Well, you got to maintain it too after the
Sure.
because y'all paid that one older gentleman to
We did,
maintain
to
part
mow
of the
it.
course
Yes.
anyway. Because we drove over that too. I guess it was coming up 9 and
Yes.
yeah.
He took care of everything around the front.
Okay. Yeah.
Very nice. Did a good job.
Right. So
And that was about it. Carl, took care of that. And there wasn't much else that was done. And look, I've tried to tell the magistrates and the judge, when we met the other night, that I think one of the things, and this is me speaking, I'm not speaking for the group, this is me speaking. I think one of the things from talking to JW and talking to others, I think one of the reasons that they want to get this thing off their hands is they got tired of the phone calls last year about when you guys going to come mow it.
from you all,
From us out there.
I
Yeah.
think there was a select small group of ladies that would call them quite frequently.
because
And they
want-
wore them out. And so I've tried to tell that group of ladies, as we've had our meetings, that if you have an issue, call me. Send me an email and let me try to organize, the mowing. But last year, JW told me that he didn't have the will to have another year of all those phone calls about mowing the property.
So y'all were contacting them that often.
Somebody was.
I was going to say somebody was.
I
and
wasn't. I don't believe Lisa was. But there was certainly some people out there in the neighborhood that were reaching out to them, continuously about mowing.
But to throw away green space that you can never, ever get back again because 8 or 10 people were complaining about mowing seems to be a hell of a punishment for the rest of us.
Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, JW brought up, he said, listen, he goes, we own a lot of property that is behind people's houses that we don't mow. And I said, I get it. And I'm not saying you got to mow. I'm just saying vote this down. And we're going to figure out a solution, something to do.
Could you all form a corporation, an LLC, and everybody buy shares?
Absolutely.
Sure.
I think if we had a chance to be able, if they voted this down,
Well, that's the only thing we've asked them to do is put it back.
put it back, give us a chance again.
Okay.
Bring it back
Because
around
the
to us.
banks in Frankfort are so generous with sponsoring all these different events. I mean, Eric worked at Farmers Bank, West Banco back in the day. Farmers Bank was on, the Governor's Open. They were the lead sponsor. I think Whitaker's doing all kinds of stuff in Frankfort now. And who knows if, a factory or that's out there, there's plenty of them out there, would buy that land and say, hey, let us help you make this a park for our employees too.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, just all kinds of possibilities.
We're open to all of that.
Well, and when I heard 1.25 million
Or 1.3.
1.3.
or 1.3, it's like there's enough people in Frankfort. It can't be hard to come up with 1.3 million dollars.
It would.
It would not.
Even if you just let it sit, you did nothing with it.
right.
But that's,
Eventually, there would be payoff.
but that's all we've asked him to do is put it back on the market.
Well, right at this,
That's it.
Right at this point,
Because
you
no
could
bid's been accepted.
That's
right.
correct.
Okay.
at this point you could gather enough people, like Craig was saying, and everybody buy 5% of it or whatever.
Absolutely.
And even if the money, even if you didn't get a return right away on it, who
You're
cares?
protecting your house.
You're protecting.
It's
Well, the possibility, I keep going back to this. We could turn Duckers Lake, which is, if it's not in city limits, it's in the city. It's what I, think it's in the city. We made that our sports complex with soccer field, softball field, tennis courts, different things like that.
Lakeview.
Lakeview. And then we had Duckers as the people park. I don't know what else you'd call it.
Yeah.
But just because going off of my kids and Eric's kids, more so than what I did when I was younger, they go to these parks. They utilize these parks. When I walked through Clear Creek with my dog, I could not believe we were walking their dog. I couldn't believe how many people were inside that park in Shelby County.
Yeah.
And then you go up to Lawrenceburg, which we're on 151. We're close to there, so we're up there all the time. Their city park is well occupied all the time. I mean, if it's 30 degrees, it's not going to be. But during the summertime, they've got baseball. They got a real nice dog park. They got concrete skate park. They got nice facilities up there for that small town. We don't have anything like that. That was part of when me and Dan Brigno ran Houston Wells' first campaign. Part of the thing was Houston and I toured the county together. There's no parks in the county.
No.
None. I said, let's put one right here at Swatcher Bridge. Put one out in Peaks Mill. Because with all the schools moving into the city, that's where the kids would go play. There's nothing like that for them now. And I think I might even talk to Michael. I know I talked to a couple of the magistrates. Put some small parks out in the county. Because there's nowhere for nobody to go without a drive.
Well, and the good thing about the Duckers area, though, is it's accessible,
Huge.
easily accessible by everyone.
And it's huge.
Even if you live in the city, going to Duckers isn't a challenge.
No.
And Aaron Ashcraft said we've already paid for it as taxpayers.
Yes.
And yes, Aaron, you're 100% correct. But my point on that is if we put it back on the market and come up with bids, if the county is hell bent on getting rid of it, at least we could get an opportunity to get the right buyers to buy it for the right reasons and still maintain protection for the property owners.
exactly.
Absolutely.
There's not, everybody that backs up to that property, who wouldn't want an extra acre or so that they could call their own?
Right.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And at least at that point you could prevent it from going to an something just hit me from somebody who's not from our community, from an out of towner, an outsider who's going to come in and build it. That out of towner has come up quite a bit lately with other political issues in town. Why do we want an outsider to buy it, profit from it? We're going to get a little bit of tax money out of the apartment buildings for the county, but there's so much better ways to generate those tax funds. If we're building living spaces, that's great. Where are we going to put them to work? Why am I moving in here?
Right.
Why am I moving to Frankfort? We've got job needs here much, much more than we need property
And
needs.
Lisa, what would...
Wait a minute. She's got a thought. She's got a thought. I
Well,
triggered something.
I was going to say.
Because it's probably the same thing I was
Well,
going to ask.
if this is so important, if we need these type of apartments this much, why is Parkside not full?
This is a valid point, too.
Well, we talked about this on a phone call. To fill up those brand new apartments,
Right.
where would those people come from if we don't have any more jobs in Frankfort? If we don't have the amenities to attract people here, who would rent those apartments?
You're going to get people who are going to move out of these older apartments that are all over the city, and they're going to run out here and run the ones that can afford them. These are not going to be affordable housing. This isn't affordable housing based upon the study we've paid $36,000 for.
Yeah.
This is higher end apartments. So for your small group of people who can afford the higher end apartments, they're going to leave their higher end apartments in town that has 20-year-old walls and 20-year-old bathrooms and things and they're going to run out here and rent the brand new ones, and they're going to rent the ones with the pools. What are we going to do with the ones sitting in town that are vacant?
Right, they're going to sit vacant. We're not housing people that need housing. We're moving people in housing to a different area of housing. We're not coming up to any more capacity. It's not like, if there's whatever, I'll make up a number, 1,000 people renting apartments, we're still going to have 1,000 people renting apartments. They're just going to be renting different apartments.
I have the handy dandy housing study. In by 2028, we need to add 192 is what we need to add.
192.
And that's 192
housing units.
Not apartments, not houses, a mixture.
A mixture, blended.
Right.
Just 192 over the next 4 years.
Well,
we're getting ready to add 663.
Right.
Yeah.
To one side, one area, one. And the really cool part about this 663 is that doesn't take into account the proposals that are getting ready to come back up for the Cardwell Lane. Because the Cardwell Lane
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Wasn't that 400 units?
It was before.
Initially, it's 400 units.
Right. And so
somehow
that's
it
getting
got
ready
stopped.
Yeah, that's getting ready to be kind of reworked and brought back up very soon.
So we love studies in Frankfort and Franklin County. And now, which set of taxpayers paid for that? Was that the county?
Half was covered from half from the city and half from the county. So $36,000. Half of it was paid by city tax dollars, and half of it was paid by county.
So we got $18,000 for city and county that they're clearly not paying attention to.
No.
Well, and when I asked that question before of a couple of the magistrates, I was told, well, if the developers are willing to build it, then
we're willing to sell it to them.
Exactly.
Makes no sense.
Well, right, because we need more empty property in Frankfort, right?
Yeah.
Did they see data like it right there?
Well, they bought it, so.
Well, the county,
that's their data.
the county and
their
city
data.
paid for
I
it.
thought that was census data.
No.
Is his microphone on?
I wanted to write
It might be down a little bit.
a letter to the editor, and I still am getting ready to do that. But
This is
I wanted
these podcasts are better.
I wanted to say, where did I miss that Toyota is building a new manufacturing plant here in Franklin County? Because I obviously missed it. It had to have been in the paper.
They're building it in Georgetown. They are actually building an addition on.
I don't get the paper. So okay, are we building something in Franklin County? Because why do we need 663 more apartments here in Franklin County? Because we don't have any new industry coming in.
Maybe all that building stuff in Simpsonville that you drive by every day, maybe they got to move to Frankfort.
Maybe so.
Because,
Maybe
man,
so.
they're building that out, ain't they?
They are.
Oh, my
like crazy.
God.
I can't figure this out. I don't think I'll ever be able to make sense of it. But it just, bring us, Judge. You want to bring in all of this housing, then you and the quorum court need to bring us industry. Mayor, you need to bring us industry. You guys need to go out here and do a great job recruiting. You need to go out here. Who can you bring into Franklin County to where we need this type of housing?
Right.
Because I talk to people of my friends all over the country through the horse business, and I'll complain about this, that what they're trying to do, and they say, I can't believe we're talking about the capital of Kentucky. Is that what you're talking about? We're talking about the capital of Kentucky.
Sound like Allen Iverson right now.
Yeah.
Practice.
And you can't, you guys don't have a pool. You guys don't have any extra amenities, anything else. And this is the capital, and you all are broke. Y'all don't have any money. You've got to flip a piece of property that you bought for green space because the county is so broke that they need the money to be able to go in another direction. If that is where the county is, we just continue to have terrible leadership here.
Well, and I've said this on several podcasts. Franklin County's aging out. My age group, I just hit 65. My age group is gone. It will, in 20 years, most of us will be gone, let's say. My children, specifically mine, as soon as they graduated college, Lebanon and Shelbyville.
Well,
Are your kids?
Well, they're still here now.
They're here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know where they are. Yeah, but my cousins' children scattered all over the place because there's nothing to keep
here.
them in Frankfort. We got to have. What do you have first, amenities or jobs?
Well, and that's the thing that I've always been frustrated about is we want to build over on the west side of town. We want to build shopping opportunities. We want to build, restaurants. We want to build apartments. Where are the jobs? State government is not the jobs. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time when I say this because my wife works for state government. Craig retired from state government.
I love state government.
State government is great. If you need a stable job, it's hard, it's hard to get fired in state government, but we still need high quality, high paying jobs. State government keeps our wages artificially low. I could never go to work in state government doing IT because I would make about half of what I do in the private sector. However, I have a very stable job. I never have to worry about, unless I'm completely a terrible employee, I don't have to worry about losing a job. So there's a lot of stability there, but they are not competing with higher wages like you see in Lexington and other places that build communities. We have to have income. We have to, like Jacob, who left, he has a professional career in which there's no opportunities in Frankfort.
Because I checked when he graduated from NKU. I called around all the factories to see what they were offering. And in Lebanon, Kentucky, population 11,000, he got one hell of a job.
Yeah.
And he's under 30, and he's making probably 30,000 more than I did when I retired at 47 already.
And we look at Georgetown. We got Toyota out there who made great, who created great paying jobs. Okay. Everybody lived outside of Georgetown. Once the jobs were there, once the people were coming there for high-paying jobs, then Georgetown exploded with shopping opportunities, nice houses, moderate houses. We're doing this backwards. We're building houses or wanting to talk about building houses and shopping for people who aren't here.
Because the 40,000 people that come into Frankfort to work that you see leaving at 4:30
Right.
Yeah.
on both ends of town.
Right.
That's right.
We don't give them a reason
To stay.
to live
stay.
in Frankfort.
No.
I mean,
But we're going to build all this housing.
We're going to
Craig.
get them apartments.
and these young people that you see and read about and everything, that's the first thing they consider is what amenities, what have you got to offer for me to come move to your town?
And that's where where you get people like your son-in-law who's an engineer. They want places. They want nice places, nice amenities. They want decent schools. They want good schools that they can, because education is important to them. They don't want to send their kids to substandard schools. So we need good schools. We need good opportunities and entertainment here.
Our schools are pretty good.
Huh?
Our schools
are pretty good.
Yeah.
But how long is that going to be maintained once we lose a barrel tax? And I'm not going down that rabbit trail.
Yeah.
But
we've already hit that.
But
That drives me crazy.
we got to have ways to bring in good paying jobs. Do that when you have a good tax base to fund those schools.
And if we age out,
Right.
I mean that's a fact. You look at demographics where y'all live.
No, no doubt.
Look at demographics in my neighborhood.
no
I've
question.
been in my neighborhood 25 years.
It's scary.
Yeah, and there's still there's a lot of people out there my age and older.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we got to change the way this town thinks, how our elected officials think. We got to give young people a reason to live here, or in 25 years, what is Frankfort County going to be?
Look, it's been terrible leadership for years after years after years here.
How do you fix that, Mark?
You have to have somebody that can come in here and sell the capital of Kentucky.
Right.
You have to have somebody with some leadership skills that can come in here, go talk to a guy that's running a big company and say, listen, come to Frankfort. We're the capital. You know, we have plenty of space for you to be able to bring your company here.
No, we don't.
And
Not comp plan wise, not planning and zoning wise. They're working on it.
right.
Another long ass discussion.
Well, true.
Well, if you were to talk about the comprehensive plan, this is green space on the comprehensive plan.
On the proposed one.
Duckers, yes.
Duckers?
Duckers.
Yes.
Okay.
But we need to bring somebody in here that can, you know, bring in industry, bring in these higher paying jobs, bring them in here, be able to sell it. I mean, my gosh, you go look at, I mean, I grew up in Arkansas. Well, go look at Little Rock and all that area. Chenault, all the area around Little Rock, it's just exploded.
I think Commissioner Thompson called me from Bowling Green the other day, or texted me, said, "Oh my God, you ought to see this place."
Yeah.
How much?
Yeah.
And then we've all seen pictures of Owensboro and their riverfront.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
there's so much that could be done here, and it's not been done. We've not had the leadership. We've not had the foresight, the vision of what Frankfort can be. We've just always, Frankfort, from what I can see, has just been left on the back burner year after year after year, administration after administration. It's just not had anybody with the vision to take it where it could have been. I've really, you know, we moved here in 2004 from Arkansas. We lived in Woodford County, but just inside the Woodford County line on Leestown Road. And the gentleman I was working for sold the farm about 3 years in, made a huge profit. Don't blame him at all for doing it. But Mallory and I needed somewhere to go.
Yeah.
We had a horse that was running in the Breeders' Cup that we had raised. And we had about 30 days to find a place to live.
Oh my.
And that, you know, we were told, hey, you can stay on the farm. It probably won't sell for a year. You guys just stay here. Don't worry about it. Well, they put a sign up on it, and it sold immediately.
Instantly. Yeah.
And so, you know, we got to go
Some
somewhere.
rich dude that needed to park his money somewhere, right?
He did.
I was
And
saying there's too much money around every farm for it to
for
stay on the
that.
market.
Yeah, that's right. And so, where are we going to go? Well, we were going to church at Forks of Elkhorn, and we'd been going there since we moved here. And Mallory, you know, here I'm working. Mallory at the time wasn't working. She's raising our children. And, you know, she just said, listen, she goes, I just ask that we stay in this area because all the friends I have made are in this area.
Right, yeah. And the
Well,
wife rules.
Todd and Kelly Lester, our pastor and his wife,
I know Todd.
told us, they said, listen, we looked at a house. It's not for us, but it's a house that you guys ought to look at. Well, where's it at? Well, it's right by the church. Where's it? It's on Mary Todd. So we went and looked at it. We needed to do something quick. And so that's how much thought we put into moving to Franklin County.
Yeah.
We didn't go look at the schools. We didn't go look at what do they have here in the area. What amenities do they have? We needed to get in a house in 30 days. And so here we are. Well, now we've been here all this time. We've been paying on our house. We've become friends. Our kids have all gone through Franklin County School. They've gone through Hearn. I mean, we're here. It's been fantastic. But when you step back away from it, you think about how much more could be here where we live.
Well, you know, this is a decision you're going to have to deal with. I've already dealt with. Eric's dealing with now. What are y'all going to do when your kids are gone?
Yeah,
Because
no.
I know your son's got at least 2 scholarships, and one of them's Ivy League.
Well, we got to stay healthy and keep working.
Yeah.
But that's
But I'm-
all stuff
yeah.
for down the road that we have to
That's
consider.
decisions y'all are going to have to make when it's empty nest time.
One of the things that would help keep us where we're at is for the court to vote this down. We would like to stay where we're at, but we need the quorum court and the judge to tell these developers that we're out. This is not what the county needs. And if they'll do that, they probably have a great chance of keeping the toothacres here in Franklin County.
Is there anything else? We can close on that. Anything else, Eric? You got any questions?
Michelle Pfister said maybe a merged government should be put back on the table.
Negative.
Yeah, Sorry, Michelle. I'm highly opposed to merged government, and I'll tell you why. Is county residents have nothing to gain and everything to lose by merged county and city government. Traditionally, outside of this issue here, I think county government has done a much better job. And this is me. I'm speaking on my behalf only. I think county government has done a much better job of running government than city has, as far as financially and wisely. That's just my personal opinion. I think it would be struck down quickly too.
Well, in Aaron Ashcraft, I think y'all have talked to him about another amenity out there, which is one of the fastest growing in the country, disc golf.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that brings people from all
Everywhere.
over, from all 7 states around us. That come. I know they go to East Frankfort Park to play.
Yeah, no, they
I know
do,
that.
for sure.
Let's see. My friend Joni Dials, she's talking about building up. If you build it, it will come. Building up different different retail shops. Her daughter is in the Brandon area,
Lexington,
Nicholasville, Brandon
okay.
Crossing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think that's right. If I'm wrong, let me know, Joni. And that's great. The problem with that is building I'm speaking on my behalf, building those type of places. If you can't rely on outside people to come here. It's not happening because they're already in Lexington. They're already in Louisville. It's kind of a double-edged sword.
I just want to keep what we got.
If
first.
and that's me. My thought is keep what we have, get better paying jobs, get career jobs. I'm not talking about fast food jobs and restaurant jobs. Get career-oriented professional jobs here. And during that period of growth, like Georgetown, I don't care if people will go spend their money in Lexington and Louisville. Once we get the people here, then we start building up for their needs or for their wants.
Absolutely.
And then we can keep those dollars here. But we got to, it's the chicken or egg conversation. Which comes first?
That's what it is. Mm-hmm. And if people move, what happens? Because government's not going to get no cheaper. We got to have police. We got to have fire. Got to have ambulance. Got to have teachers. Right. What's going to happen? A bigger tax burden on those that stay, and it will force our elderly folks maybe to move out because they can't decide. So,
Craig, I can't thank you enough for allowing Lisa and I to come speak to you and Eric. We appreciate it very, very much. You guys giving us the time, the platform. This is awesome what y'all are doing. I'm so thankful that you're doing it for our community. I'll have to listen in more often. Go
Absolutely.
to the page on YouTube now that I'm aware.
Sometimes we have really good discussions, and like Craig had mentioned earlier, we don't normally have problems getting people in. County or city, representatives, elected officials, they usually want to come and get their part out. We always like to get both sides, of a conversation.
I hope they come. The ones that are for it, I hope they'll come.
Right.
I hope none of them are for it, though.
I hope none of them are for it.
And I hope they all just say, guys, I appreciate it, but we're not for that issue. We're going to vote it down. We're going to move on, and so we'll catch you when we have another issue that pertains more to us.
yeah, does it feel rushed? Does this feel rushed to you all?
Yes.
Very.
Okay.
Sure. It does to me too.
Because there are limitless possibilities, as the State Journal said.
Yes, there is.
Let's
make it happen.
Yeah.
Let me get this one last comment in. Michelle Pfister said, then maybe we need to learn to merge meetings. If the city can't afford sewers for 8 years, county government should know this. Michelle, that is something that we've talked about with a couple of officials. Is there is a lack of communication there between the left hand and the right hand, and I agree with you 100% that county and government, and I think it's getting better, but I think there needs to be a whole lot better communication there, and I think we're starting to see leadership that's actually starting to do that better, communicate between the two.
Yeah, this just isn't logical to me because I don't see how you can be against the tyranny property and potential water issues through Slickaway and all that, and you can support this. Yeah. It's not logical to me.
That's what drives me crazy.
Yeah, it's not logical at all.
Doesn't me either.
Well, I mean, and how you used to be so excited about this green space, and now you can't get rid of it fast enough.
Yeah.
We have a petition going on change.org, prevent Duckers Lake Golf Course from sale. Love for everybody to get on there and sign our petition. We also have a Facebook page that we've got up and running. Keep Duckers green and stop the sale. Love to see you all on that as well.
Come back to the podcast on Facebook and link that in there.
Okay.
And then one of us can pin it
Okay.
so that it stays up
Yeah.
and people can have quick, easy access to that.
That's great.
We'll do both of those.
And
Perfect.
I'll ask I'll ask a couple more magistrates if they want to come on and talk about it.
I hope they will.
The two that we've talked about, Lisa, I'm friends with one. I don't know the other one. but-
Kelly and Eric are both, and so is JW. They're all very supportive.
I was thinking of the 3rd and 6th district magistrates.
But we've had someone from every district reach out to us, very concerned about this project, and a lot have come to our meetings.
Local residents,
Yes.
county residents?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Well, I think, and I know we've tried to wrap up 3 times now.
Yeah.
Not only is there an impact here on your all's property and everyone else there in Duckers personally, I think it also sets a tone that we need to be careful of too. It sets a precedent of what county government could or what they could do in the future and how they could encroach upon people.
Sure.
And it's like, I've talked about before, we have to band together. Right is right and wrong is wrong. I mean, I'm not personally affected by this, but
it could be you tomorrow.
but it could be us tomorrow, and I'm going to say, "Hey, Mark, hey, Lisa, I got an issue. Oh, where were you on ours?
Yeah.
You never gave us an
Remember I
opportunity."
talked to you about our deal with the landfill out in Huntington
right.
Woods?
Yeah.
Right.
I tried to get other neighborhood associations
Right.
to join us because we won it 3 times in planning and zoning. We won it in court 3 times. We just lost the fiscal court vote. And so I think I told you, Lisa, and I've told Eric many times, that when I see these other neighborhoods that get issues and they call up and say, hey, can you help me out? Well, where was y'all
Where were
for
you?
us?
Right.
Right.
So our opportunity to help out is to give people a voice.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So we carry that thought forward from the 90s.
Yeah.
And Eric and I give people that don't get more than 3 minutes in front of a group, and then I'm kind of shocked that no elected officials asked y'all any questions for all the people that spoke.
Yeah, they did not.
They did not, and they made it real clear when we got there they would answer no questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, with that, is there anything else that I'll give you all the last words for real this time.
Sign our petition, as Lisa said. Join our Facebook page, and the biggest thing is reach out to the magistrates, reach out to the county judge, express your concerns, and tell them to vote no on this. Ring them up, give them a call. You can send them an email if you don't want to talk to them, but when you get somebody on the phone, I feel like that's way more effective than send them an email that they can just delete. So, call up the magistrates. If you feel concerned about this issue like we do, that this is a terrible idea for Franklin County, call your magistrate and express your concern. Tell them to vote no on this proposal. Let's use this for green space that our kids and grandchildren can use for years to come.
Or put it back up for vote.
Or for sale.
Or for sale.
For sale.
Put it back up for sale.
Very well said. Very well said. And we'll close with that. And thank you to everyone who stuck around with us for this long and listened. And, well, I guess have a good afternoon.
Y'all can see the comments on here too. When
Yeah.
You get home.
Yeah, they'll all be public.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you all
thank
for
you.
coming out, and Eric and I will keep an eye on this and see how it progresses, and I will try to get see if I can get Magistrate Dacus or Whisman or both of them to come out here and see if they'll do it.
Or JW.
Yeah.
Yep.
JW will.
Yeah.
JW
will. I mean, he stood there for 2 hours with us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right then.
All right.
Well, thank you all. Take us out.